My name is Robert Renteria, and this is my home. And I slept in the basement on a smelly mattress. My real father left the family when I was only 3 years old. The only legacy he left us was a pile of bills and a bunch of empty bottles of booze back in the trash can. When I got old enough, I ran away. When I was 21 years old, I was involved in a drug deal that went bad. And I swore to myself that if God gave me a chance to get away, I'd leave and never come back. And in 1990, I moved to Chicago with only $200 in my pocket and a duffel bag. And after 6 years of working hard every day, every night, I became vice president of a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. And now I'm back to give someone that same opportunity. So I selected 12 individuals with their own challenges to help make their hopes and dreams come true. Over the next 12 weeks, we are going to expose them to the things I learned along the way. And they're going to be inspired, encouraged, and challenged. Don't let where you came from dictate who you are, but you let it be a part of who you become.
Robert, welcome to the set of Chicago Latino TV.
Thank you for having me.
So we read in your book, and I have here, Robert Renteria, From the Barrio to the Boardroom. You talk about your life experience. When you grew up in East Los Angeles, and your experiences as a founder of corporate America. What are your experiences as a childhood, and what do you have to say for those young people, those young kids that we want to send a message to them? What was life growing up in East Los Angeles, in the ghetto, in the barrio?
Well, I grew up in the barrio of East Los Angeles. My mother and my father, when they got married, my mother didn't know my father was doing drugs. And she was in love with his good looks and his smooth talking ways. And at the age of 3, my father abandoned the family, and the only legacy he left us was a pile of bills and a bunch of empty bottles of booze in the trash can. But my mother, she was strong. Sometimes working 2 and 3 jobs just to make sure her little boy and little girl would not become part of a system. And my mother taught me that the most important thing in life is family, familia, that you protect it and respect it and don't abuse the privilege.
Right.
When I was about 6 years old, I had a terrible accident. I almost died. I had to go to a handicap school for the physically disabled and mentally challenged. I couldn't walk or talk or read or write. But it was 3 years later that I walked out of that school tall and strong and on my own. And I remember when I walked out of that school, my mother was waiting for me at the front gate with tears streaming down her face, which so eloquently proved to me that day that happiness was not about pleasure, but happiness was about victory, because we had done what they said could not be done. See, because I tell our kids, quitting's not an option. Then I went on and I got older, and I ran away from home, and I dropped out of school, and I started doing drugs and selling drugs and did a lot of bad things that I'm not so proud of today. And I can tell the kids that, living at firsthand, that gangbanging and violence is not a lifestyle, but a death style. And I'm 17 years old, my father died. My real father died in a halfway house on Skid Row. He was a bum. And I went to see where he lived, and as I walked through the hallway of the flickering lights, and it was stale smelling, there was prostitutes and pimps and derelicts and alcoholics reaching out to me, asking me for money. And when I got to the door, I was scared, right? I'm 17 years old, I'm shaking like this, and I turned the key and opened the door real slow. And it was like deja vu, because my dad had left me again, the same way he had left me when I was only 3 years old, was more empty bottles of booze in the trash can. You see, my father's death proved to me that if you play with the devil, you're going to get burned. So I spent the next 2 years of my life running around like a dog chasing his tail in circles, until my grandfather sat me down. He says, "Mijo, you have to get out of here. If you don't leave, you're going to end up dead or in prison, or best case, I'm dead in factory job." So I resolved to making better choices. I went back to school, I got my GED, and I joined the military. And it was the best decision of my life, because not only changed my life, it saved my life. And not only made me a man, but it made me a better man. And I traveled all over the world. And the one thing I really learned about the military that taught me was about character. Because character is not just doing what's right when somebody's watching you, it's doing the right thing when nobody's watching you.
Right.
So after I served for over 7 years as a non-commissioned officer, I came back to Los Angeles, and my friends, so-called friends, were doing exactly the same thing when I had left. Only now they'd elevated their game to dealing heavy drugs. And some of them are doing hard time in a federal penitentiary, looking forward to nothing more than 3 hots and a cot, being told what to do, how to walk, how to talk, when to sleep, when to eat. Right. That's not life.
You see that your book was, it's actually being taught now. It's actually a requirement for a lot of schools. It's in elementary school, middle school, high school, and higher education level like college. And it's also being used in other organizations and institutions. Can you, how do you feel about this? About your book actually empowering the youth and empowering not only the youth, but others that are like, I don't know, in their 30s, 40s, and are actually willing to do something with their lives now that they weren't capable to do when they were younger?
Well, I'm very proud that they're using the book in the schools. There's actually a curriculum was created by Chicago public school teachers.
Right.
And it's a chapter by chapter outline of curriculum to help inspire our kids to make better choices.
How does it make you feel that this book is being used internationally? So it's not only used in the United States now, but it's used in Spain, Canada, Mexico, London, and even the Philippines. How is it transitioning from one language to the other? You know, like what's the barrier?
Well, you know, the #1 best-selling book in the world is the Bible. And why is that? Because it gives people hope.
Right.
So this is a book about hope. My story is from the barrio to the boardroom, but we all have a from and we all have a to.
Exactly.
Right? So the book itself it's an inspirational story of how to get from point A to point B. So it makes me very proud to know that these books potentially will help to change the landscape for youth across America.
Can you name us some companies that are helping the Barrio Foundation?
Thank you for asking. Yes, we do have a foundation, which is a 501c3 non-for-profit, which I chair. And recently we received a very nice grant from the Boeing company. They funded a new project. I have another book coming out, by the way, in a couple of weeks called Little Barrio, Barrio Chico. And it's an activity coloring book to help kids that are K through 3. But companies like Sam's, Office Depot, and AT&T, and Union Pacific Railroad, to name a few, are people who are helping our foundation so we can deliver this program to underfunded schools and underprivileged kids.
Right. In the beginning of the show, I have an introduction of yourself, of a new reality TV show that you're going to start producing that you initiated. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
The idea of the reality TV show is to inspire kids around the world, right, how to get from the barrio to the boardroom or beyond. So we're going to be shooting here in Chicago, hopefully later this year, at a law firm of Thompson Colburn, and we'll be shooting it. It's a 2-week process of taking kids to either show them how to start a business or how to start a not-for-profit and to get them out of the barrios.
And that'll be it for today. I mean, I could sit here and talk to you the whole evening. You know, next time let's have a cup of coffee and we'll talk a little bit more.
Absolutely.
You have a website. It's called the Barrio Foundation. How can they locate? Is there people like, you know, myself, like out on the street that may want to locate you and ask you for any advice?
Absolutely. You can reach me on my email at robert@fromthebarrio.com.
Okay.
And you can engage with us by going to our website at www.fromthebarrio.com. And we are looking for people to participate with us and help us to put these books in the hands of as many kids as possible. Because we want to exchange these books from the barrio to the border, mi barrio. I want to exchange these books for all the guns, knives, drugs, needles, booze, and even the cigarettes. That's my goal.
Yes, and that'll be it for today. Yo me despido aquí con Robert Renteria. Y si usted quiere ser parte de nuestro programa, escríbanos a chicagolatino.tv@gmail.com o síganos en Facebook y Twitter. Nos vemos la próxima semana.